Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of the Musings and Music Show. I'm Egben B1 Monjimbo, coming to you via Vosa World Radio. And later on, this is going to be on YouTube. So if you're listening, never mind, you get to see the images on YouTube pretty soon. I'm excited. I have been waiting for this for ages, for centuries, to get the three guests I have with me today, special people that I have known from forever, from the cradle, I would say. And instead of me messing things up, I'm going to have them tell you themselves who they are. And I'm going to follow protocol because I'm afraid of country fashion. I'm going to go from oldest to youngest. So I'll have the oldest of all three people start first, introducing herself.
Wow. Good morning, and thank you so much, Egwe, for having us on this program. We're so honored. My name is Dora Shu MBANYA. Dora Shu is the maiden name. Shu is the maiden name, and Banya is the name that belongs to a handsome, tall, ebony black man I got married to. And I live in Yaoundé, and my sisters are on with me. And one important thing to say is that I have 4 biological children and 4 biological grandchildren. I work in Yaoundé, and I think we'll get onto that later.
Right. But where are you coming to us from right now, though? You work in Yaoundé, but are you coming to us from Yaoundé now?
No, I happen to be in the US at this moment.
There you go. All right. Then I'm going to go following protocol, as I said, to the follow back. So go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Thank you so much, Egbe, for having us. It's really an honor. We're really pleased to be with you this morning. My name is Florence Shu BLANKSON, even though I haven't put it in there. And I am in Florida, Miami, Florida, where I work. And I think we'll leave the rest for later when you ask the questions.
Okay. And then now I have to say, last but not least, who last because she is last in the family, but definitely, as I'm going to find out down the road, definitely not last in anything else besides just being last in the family. Go ahead, please, introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Egwe, for having us on the show. I am STELLA Shu CHUNGONG, and I am currently talking to you from Florida, but I live in Switzerland, in Geneva, and I am married with 2 biological kids and 2 adopted kids.
Awesome. That's it. Welcome to the show. I am thrilled. If you're listening keenly, then you have caught the common denominator in all of what they said there. There's Shu happening in each of the names that they gave you there. So these are sisters. And just for the record, there's not just 3 of them, there are actually 4 Shu siblings, and their brother isn't here with them. But I wanted to do the 3 Shu girls, all protocol respected to their various husbands. Just for now, it's a Shu thing that is happening right here. And if you look, I don't know if you've taken the time to look, for those of you who are watching, at their names, you see Prof, Doctor, all from the same family. And by the way, the sibling I'm talking about, the brother, is the same thing. Is it Prof or Doctor or both?
Both.
There you go. So we have some people here, something is very special family, because they usually say, oh, there's a black sheep in the family. There isn't in this family. Everybody is something. Pointing at herself, lie, like they say. No. So now, I'll go ahead, and you said where you're based, talked about your family in general. So, but where did you grow up actually? And what was life like growing up? And anybody can start, and then I'll make sure everybody else gets to say something if we need to.
Are we following the same protocol?
Look, let us do the reverse. Let's do the reverse this time. Stella, you go right on.
Oh yeah, okay. I grew up in, I was born in Boya, and grew up partly in Boya, and then my parents moved to Yaoundé, where I subsequently grew up, and we went then to Seka Baptist College, all three sisters, and I'm sure you'll get to that. And then from there, did high school in Katsbambili in Bamenda, and then moved on back to do medical school in Yaoundé in the QS.
What about you, Sister Flo? Which it's going to be kind of similar, but let's just see whether not the exact trajectory, but just tell us.
Yes, similarly, we grew up in Boya. We started off in Boya, and then we moved to Yaoundé, you know, like Stella said. And then I, in particular, I went to, of course, Seka Baptist is our common denominator. I went to Seka Baptist College in Limbe, which was Victoria then. And then I moved on. Later, I will tell you why I said I was a black sheep, because I then moved on and continued I went to high school in England, you know, and I would explain that a little later in terms of why the black sheepness came in. And from England, I came to Cameroon, and I did my first law degree there. And from Cameroon, I came to the United States, where I went to Harvard Law School and Stanford Law School. And now teaching as a professor of law for the past 23 years at Nova Southeastern University, Shepherd Broad College of Law.
Okay, sorry, with all deference, because you're my big sister, I have to say you just contradicted yourself. How does anybody say black sheep at Harvard Law School in the same sentence? And have it make sense? Have it make sense? I just want to say that respectfully, but it doesn't.
Yes.
Really
I say that because, I say that because my sisters in the family, we are very close, and because my, you know, all of them, they had ascribed roles to everybody. I would be we will all be doctors, we will all be medical school and everything. And me knowing nothing, I thought that was also my calling. And I tried and I failed woefully, you know. And so before getting into law, I had actually tried doing medicine, but it wasn't really nothing, you know, I had nothing in me that was no potential at all. Yeah.
And the entire judicial system thanks you for realizing that that was not the calling.
Yes. I think I'll thank my dad even more so, because he quickly picked that up, that this is not carved out for her.
We will talk about this further down the road, but thank God for parents like that, because the other thing will just hold a stick over your head. You will do that thing you need to do, and so by force, and you're struggling there, and nobody will be happy. So let's go to, we did the reverse role. Sister Dora, how did it go for you?
Oh, well, just like the others, I was born in Bafut, birth school, primary school in Boya, and then Seka Baptist College for secondary education, Katsbambili for high school, and after that I went to QS, the University Teaching Hospital Center in Yaoundé, where I graduated as a medical doctor. Following that, I did go on to the UK, the University of Newcastle upon Tyne, where I did hematology. So I'm a hematologist by profession. I also did a degree in transfusion medicine in the University of Côte d'Ivoire. That was a side.
Wow, this is amazing. People's sides are usually, I did a little stint with food and nutrition somewhere, I just learned some. Other people's little sides, I play the guitar. Other people's, I mean, like, that is a lot of stuff in those brains of yours collectively right here, which is amazing. You know, I'm going to get to your careers pretty soon, but I think this is the time to say, what would you attribute to the fact that you just have, it is rare, whether we like to slice this cocoyam or yam, how, it is rare. You don't find too many people like that. People are doing pretty well. I mean, you have whatever it is that you're doing, but it's rare to find this combination, everybody, this driven, this motivated, this successful, this academically strong. I'm going to go ahead and ask you, what do you attribute that to? And anybody can start, and I'll just go with whoever has been spoken next.
Well, Egwe, sorry, did I interrupt?
No, you didn't. You didn't.
Okay. No, one important thing I want to say is the parental background had a lot to do for it. My father was an educationist. His PhD was in education. So you can understand that anything education So you imagine what you, as children, we went through. Your report card must be seen as the first thing on arrival home and that kind of thing. He must drop you at British Council Library for you to read, and he follows up. I didn't have a French teacher in Form 5, but I passed in French GCE level because my dad, when you came for holiday, there was nothing like playing. He sat there. He had done University of Sorbonne in France, and so he knew some French. And he would sit there, take that book, I can't remember the name now, and go through with you from start to finish. You do précis, you do this, you do that. And that's how I got French at O levels. So I think the parental background had a lot to do for, and of course, there is God.
That's it.
I
That's
had
the thing.
very strong, praying parents. And so I think that had a lot to do with all of our successes.
Yeah, you want to add something
Yeah,
to
yeah,
that?
sure. If I can add that, I think the environment in which you also grew up is quite important. I remember from my first memories going to nursery school with Auntie Nigwe, Kuku Nigwe being my my teacher, and really anyone who knows Sister Stella Nyangwe's mom knows what a correct person she is and how well she would guide any young people in her care. So that really kickstarted for me how I saw education, how I saw being with people, the environment in which I grew. And then, of course, as my sister said, my father was a very strong influence, being an educationist, and he brought along something called broad-based education from the UK. I think that was the in thing at the time. And that meant that I had to go and watch Voltaire, Candide from, written by Voltaire. I had to go to theater. I had to go to the British Council to read. I had to read a newspaper every day. It didn't matter that it had nothing to do with me or my life. I had to have that broad-based knowledge. And that drove in me a sense of thirst to know more, to learn more, to be more. And that environment is one in which we grew, putting excellence, putting integrity, putting thoughtfulness in what we did, and drove us to the levels of excellence that we see today.
I cannot agree more, because I see it less and less in this day and time. The kids are there. You ask them something, they say, but it's not on the syllabus. And are you going to only know the stuff? Because what would have happened in your case is they would say you're a science student. That's what it was like in our day. You're a science student. What are you doing reading Voltaire? In fact, the other kids, even in the arts section, read only the books that were on the prescribed books that were on the syllabus. So you will not read, if it's Othello, that's on the thing for Shakespeare, and you ask them, okay, have you read A Midsummer Night's Dream? No, it's not on the syllabus. And they are not understanding now, even less, that it is to be a well-rounded person. You see, fine science students that you are, but your diction, the way you speak and express yourself is different. And that is the reason why. So you definitely have a point there as well. Sister Flo, have anything to add to this whole idea, like what you say would be what you attribute this whole success thing to?
Yes, my parents pretty much in the same light, but my parents, I remember when I came back from England, my dad, French wasn't my thing, and my dad decided to be my teacher. He hired French teachers, of course, for us, but he clearly spent time every evening teaching me, he translated all my notes. As soon as I finish class, I take from someone, if I didn't write properly, I come home, Dad is there to translate for me. So he did so much in terms of making sure that all the barriers were removed and make it possible for you to succeed. So I would attribute that to Mama and Papa. They just did the best they knew how to, and it turned out to be so good. Again, all the British Council, we lived in the British Council. I used to think it was punishment. Every weekend you have to be taken, you have to be taken to the British Council to rent books. What do you do? Yeah, rent books, bring them home, and then you read, and then you summarize what you have read from each book before we take them back. So all of that just, forced us to, whether you liked it. At the time you thought it was a little torture, but today we see that it has a lot to do with who we have become in terms of having that yearning to learn, to research, to acquire more knowledge. to enhance what I just think it's all attributable to them.
That's true. And I can attest to it because I watched you there grow, the young that you've mentioned. That's where I first meet you all and see it happen. Both of your parents, because your mom and my mom were elders at that church, at the Presbyterian church right there. There was nothing, no joking, no hanky-panky, you're playing there. You and Marshall's children, the best behavior. Our parents were not the kind that when you go to sit down there and you have some kind of strange rumor going on around, like, what? Excuse me, if you wanted, I said you wanted to go meet Jesus expeditiously. Don't even say that, but they were not, you see, on the other hand, they beat you, kill you kind of parents either, but they were strict. And we really do thank God for them. God rest their dear souls because they're not here anymore. But this is a testament to the great job that they actually did. Now let's go to your career specifically, because you're doing different fields, two in medicine, one other person in law in the legal field. I will start with the person who is in the legal field before we go down to the two medical people and say, what does your job really entail? You kind of mentioned it a little bit, but what does your job entail? Like a typical day, typical week, what is it that you do? Because part of this show is to make people who listen say, wow, that's somebody who has done something. Maybe that's a career I can also do, because maybe there's somebody sitting there who's saying, I don't think I can do this legal thing. They don't even know what it entails. So just talk to us about your various careers, and we'll start with you, Sister Flo.
Yes, so I my typical weekday, it varies from semester to semester because I teach different courses. So typically in the fall semester, I would teach subjects like contracts, uses. I shouldn't bore you guys with all these legal courses, but I do teach the commercial, business and international law courses, as well as comparative law courses. So it varies from semester to semester. And so my typical day would be, and depending on the kind, if I'm doing, for example, a seminar which requires the students to write papers, then what will happen is that, we meet more often in terms of the one-on-one to help go over their drafts there and then give them feedback so they could respond or correct whatever mistakes they have made. I usually would teach, I get in the morning, if it's a morning session, then what happens is I'll get up earlier, be at work by 9 o'clock, we are in class, I teach for about 2 hours of that particular subject matter before I can move to the next one, depending the course, as I said. And so it's been very rewarding. As I said before, I've been teaching at this particular law school for 23 years. And the reason I stayed, because I did have a job with the offer from the United Nations, and I turned it down to be with this school. So I always remind them of that, so that tells you I enjoy being there. My colleagues are very wonderful people for the most part. They treat me well. And so I'm happy. I want to be in a place where I work and I am happy. So that's what kept
important.
Me there.
Job satisfaction. And that says a lot for you to have it over 23 years. It says you're the kind of person who's focused on the job, but you're doing the job well, or somebody, or you would still be there. So let's ask Stella. She says she works out of Geneva in Switzerland. So what exactly do you do?
So after leaving medical school, I did a specialization. I first did community health, a specialization in Switzerland. And then I went to the UK, to the University of Leeds to do a master's in public health. So I am a medical epidemiologist. And I went back to work with the World Health Organization. I am currently the director of a department called the Health Security Preparedness Department within the WHO's programs on health emergencies. And so this program deals with all the outbreaks, you see, the pandemics, the disasters, and everything that you see going on around in terms of health emergencies. And my specific role is that of helping to prepare countries to deal with all of these events and emergencies. So a week or a day in my life in Geneva is an extremely busy but also rewarding one, because we actually put together the standards, the guidance, the norms, and the policies that govern the world in terms of how they prepare and respond to health emergencies. we have what we call the convening power, bringing together key institutions, agencies, individuals, science, research, to think around and dialogue around important global health issues. My work entails also supporting countries to build the actual capacities that they need to deliver on this mandate. So I attend meetings, I have policy dialogues, I have discussions with partners, with donors, fundraise, but the most gratifying part of that is being able to make a change to the lives of the smallest unit in a village, of a family member in a youth in a village, of a child in a village, even though we sit at the global level and influence through our regional offices and our country offices. It's amazing to be able to make that difference.
It is awesome. I'm listening to you and I'm tired on your behalf. I'm weary. All that you have to just keep track of. I'm sitting here like, okay, figure out what's for lunch, what's for so and so, go teach my lesson, come on back. I've taught the same material for I don't know what, like Sister Flo, I've taught the same material. Pretty much I could teach in my sleep. But to hear, you don't have that luxury because the crisis, the things are popping up in the world as we speak. We sat there, 2019, we danced and did the Born and Live for 2020. We didn't know what was coming. Then 2020 hits and you're there, the countries are like, what is this? Should we, you know, there's a time when look at the AIDS time when people did not know if you should shake hands or not. Should you, people were taking their own silverware to the restaurant because you don't know if you should eat anything. Those kinds of things happen, which we don't know anything about. And it depends on people like you to figure it out and tell us what to do, how to handle the crisis. So we are really grateful for that line of work. Now over to Sister Dora. You had talked about being the did you say hematologist?
Yeah.
Which some people heard it, I heard it too. Some people have absolutely no clue. Hematologist, what on earth is that? To start with.
Okay, so thank you, Egwe. Like I said earlier, I did, after medical studies in Yaoundé, I moved on to the UK, where I trained as a hematologist. And when we say hematologist, it's to do with blood and blood disorders. So all of the cancers of the blood, all of the sickle cell diseases, it is all under hematology. And so my typical day would be, I happen, as I said earlier, I'm also a lecturer in hematology, professor of hematology at the Faculty of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences of the University of Yaoundé 1. So we train doctors, and in training on the curriculum, we have hematology. And so right from first year, we start giving them basic physiological training, and then they move on to the pathology of it, that's the different diseases and all of that. And it includes transfusion medicine too. So it's a bit of teaching every day, going into lectures. You have to take them to at the hospital level. So it's not only going to give lectures in school, but it's also taking them on at hospital level, bedside teachings and all of that, to ensure that they can match the theory with practical aspects of everything. And so that's what it typically is. And you get students for different levels. It might just be those that are coming to learn how to take blood pressures or just learning how to prick a vein, to those who are going to attend to fully very sick hematological cases on the ward. So it depends on what is happening. But typically as a hematologist, it is not only the clinical work, there is also laboratory aspects to it. And so my typical day on a consultation day, I could go through so many patients from morning till evening. And when you finish with that, you have been taking blood samples and all of that, you now move to the laboratory where you sit on the microscope or on other equipment to bring out results so that you can help to diagnose what precisely is going on in each patient. And so it's usually a full-time work, and you find there are so very few hematologists in Cameroon, because when they have observed how much time we put in working, most of them think, this is too much.
It's not for the faint of heart at all.
Yes. And currently, I happen to be the general manager of the National Blood Transfusion Service in Cameroon. It is new. Transfusion medicine has always existed in Cameroon since the 1950s, early 50s, but it is only being formalized now. So everything should normally be coordinated through a national blood transfusion service. And it is just 3 years now since I was appointed to handle that. So we are starting up a national blood transfusion service, having to coordinate it so that it works throughout the national territory. Its main mission is to ensure that blood is available throughout the national territory, which is a very, very challenging task, I can tell you.
It's obvious that it would be. I don't know how that happens. I just was some video somebody sent me on WhatsApp today. I saw the rainy season. I just saw all of that mud and stuff, and I don't know that the air lifts anything. And I'm going, how is that going to work? That is a daunting task you've got on your hands there to figure it out. But it's a matter of life and death to save lives.
It is.
So you have no choice but to try to figure out to the best of your ability how to get that done. Wow, wow, wow. I mean, there's a lot of academics going on here, but then, as you said, I happen to know specifically, I know for a fact how close you are as sisters. Because you're saying that they're talking about all of these academics, but these are very close sisters. I happen to have 2 sisters myself, so there's 3 of us, extremely close. Those are the people who, if anything happened now, that instinctively, no offense meant to husband and children, but it's where's my sister. Even the kids knew it. It was very funny once. I was so upset. I don't know what I was talking about. And my daughter, she was maybe like 5. She brings the phone to me. That it was the phone that she had taken out of the thing and brought it to me, not the cell phone, brought it to me and says, talk to Auntie Didi. And I'm going, did she call you? Did she call the house? I didn't hear the phone ring. She says, no, I called her. And I think she realized then that the person who can fix this problem her mother is in would be her sister. So she went and got the thing, called the auntie her own self, brought it to me and said, here, go ahead and talk to her. That's the kind of relationship that I see going on. What accounts for that closeness? Did you just bond your own selves, or is that what you were raised to do? What accounts for this closeness? Let's start with Stella.
I was the last child, so you know, I just grew up in a very protective and protected environment, and my sisters were always there for me. They always took care of things. I remember Sister Dora going around picking anything I threw down on the floor and just packing it away, never even scolding me. My sister Florence doing the same. So, I mean, they were always there for me. They were the people I knew when I was born, and they were the people who just took care of me, in addition to our parents, of course, but they were just an intrinsic, an integral part of my life from the day I was born. And I love my sisters to bits, and they know it. They all carry a mug that I gave them that says, I love my sister. And they were so mad because one of the house girls chipped Auntie Dora's own, and she has not forgiven that house girl yet.
Oh, okay, Sister Flo, what would you say?
Yes, our closeness. I want to think that my parents also had a role to do with play in these relationships that we share, because the foundation was very, very, very strong. The first father and mother, they lived a very exemplary life that we would. As Stella said at their wedding anniversary, 50th wedding anniversary, you never saw them quarrel, except for one day when she stumbled and pushed their door or something to that effect, and then found that out. So we lived in an environment that was peaceful, loving, caring, and so all of that was bound to be inherent in us as we grew up, and we have never left it. But we love each other so much because we just do, you know, I just can't explain it. It's just a beautiful family. You know, I love my sisters dearly, and we do everything together. It's just continued from what our parents showed us as was love, and it's been that way since then.
Sister Dora, do you have anything to add to that?
Not much really, but I happen to be the big sister, and the onus has been on me to care for the younger ones, school when necessary, and to shower them with love. And they shower me with love too. Sometimes you would think Stella maybe is our elder sister because of the kind of things she has to do for us, just showering each other with love, very sacrificial love towards each other. And I think that was exactly what you were saying when you talked of turning to your sisters when it is really bad, as we put it, it is your sister. So
no judgment, no limits, nothing.
Yes,
Say,
you
let
just
us
step
scold
in
you,
and help.
take the scolding and everything, but
Yes.
you know for a fact that they have your back 24/7.
And all time.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
can actually have the disputes, and I have to give deference to the biggest sister when you come first, because you can't accept the trend if you are there in every, because we're talking about this. That's some people will be saying, but isn't that natural? No, it's not. Because you can start from the beginning that way when we're home, but there are many people who have grown up and gone their separate ways. They're not quarreling with their sisters, but they are not close. They actually, you ask them who's your best friend, they have different, we all do have the best friends anyway, but there's some things which you just sit and say, I will have to just call my sister and talk about this thing. And I accredit the thing most of all to the bigger sister who kind of sets the tone, the oldest. In our case, Sister Ivo, who sets the tone.
Exactly.
My goodness, they are pretty much calm. Look at Sister Jolly there. Well, just called her Jolly, how the way Sister Bob calls her. Smiling there. And they're very peaceful, good-natured ladies. Touch one of their sisters and see what happens. It's like
Exactly.
like mother hen, so protective. And when you have that, part of this success is that when you have that, you know, the people who really want you to succeed, who are encouraging you and everything, how are you not successful? You know that if you did this kind of a thing, okay, how is she going to react? Say I go and do something now, go shoplift at a store, and I'm out there now in the newspaper, the evening news. The person I feel, the people I feel I would hurt the most are who make you now stay on the straight and narrow. It is a beautiful thing to see, I can tell you. Yesterday, I checked in with you all, and what did you say you were? What did you say you all were doing, Sister Flo? Where were you all? Because you attended the EXA convention together.
Yes.
In Tampa this year in Florida.
Yeah, the same room.
There you go. Who wants to stay in a different room?
Always.
Just get one large king size bed and stay right there. So after all of that, I called yesterday. I thought you were back in Miami already. You said no. What was going on when I called? When I texted you.
Yes, I said we were in the store, and I actually put threw Stella under the bus, which I'm going to tell. And I said, we were at the store. I'm here with Auntie Dora. And I don't know, Stella is intentionally missing in one of the stores. We don't know where she is. So I said, chai, you know.
And I laughed because I could just picture the whole thing. You see, look at, you can see, for those of you who are watching, you can see that they're dressed in similar colors. That's pretty much how it is. Attending, and to do even just this thing that you have coordinated like this, it takes closeness. If you're following sisters, then people show up for a thing, whatever I thought of wearing, whatever you thought of wearing. When you see this happen, it already speaks to how close you are. So let's play a little bit of a fun thing and say, okay, so who amongst you three is the most patient, would you say?
Auntie Dora.
And everybody says agreed, Auntie Dora. Okay. So who is the most, because you all are powerful, determined women and everything, but who is the most likely to say, I'm done, I give up, I'm done with this?
Probably me.
Yeah, I think Stella.
She's nodding and saying, I think I'll be that person who will just say, look. We all have them. I'm asking this question.
It comes from being the last child.
We go, not B5 as they say, bam, right there. I'm like, please. We're done with this. We've tried enough. Then you feel bad and say, but maybe our mother wouldn't have liked this. I'm like, oh, forget it. Let's move on with this. And we're the least tolerant and the least maybe patient and the least, but just like you said, forget it. All right. I think you've already touched on this answer, because I'm going to say, who is the most likely to suggest, let's go out shopping, let's go have fun, let's go on a cruise, let's go do this or let's go do that. Busy as you are.
Stella will be the one to take us shopping. All of that. I might be the cruise person who always thinks we should go on a cruise. Yes.
Yes, so you're the cruise person, she's the shopping person. So what would you say Auntie Dora is? She's the what person?
Oh, she's a calming agent in the water. Yeah,
she's a peaceful one.
She's a peaceful, very peaceful, and just go with the flow. If we drag her this way, she goes. We drag her that way, she goes. She just wants to be where we are.
Right. Now let me just for one last thing to ask. Who would you say you take after our parents? We are a product of both parents, obviously. But who would you say, I'll start with Auntie Dora and go all the way down. Who would you say you take after the most? And it can be for different things. I take after my father for this, but I think I have this from my mother. What would you say? Starting with you, Sister Dora.
I know Papa loved peace. So when they say she's peaceful and that, he would sort problems by just making sure there's peace reigning. That was Papa. Mama would give you a thorough warning when there's need.
Right. So you would say she was the disciplinarian in the family.
Papa was Papa was a very staunch disciplinarian, especially when it concerned academics, as you must have worked it out already. But and if there was the need, he put out his cane.
Right.
Yes, if there was the need, he would put out his cane. Papa was a disciplinarian, but he was very good at handling things. In fact, the nickname Papa had around the place was the sage. So a wise man who would know how to handle different situations so that peace reigns in the end. That was Papa.
There you go. Sister, what would you say?
Yeah, I think I take some aspects of my mom, and my dad. Dad is a peaceful person, quiet, just very observant, and absorbs everything around him. But at the same time, my mom, in the sense that, she's feisty. She doesn't, she's, you don't step on her toes and get away with it. She's going to give you the peace of her mind before she lets you go. And that's me. I'm generally, I don't confront, I'm non-confrontational, but if it does happen and there's a need, I'll give you a piece of my mind.
That's it. That's it. And Stella, what would you say?
I took from both of them. My mom always spoke in proverbs and, citing different, citing different things. And you learn through that. And you learn to apply certain words to certain situations. And that forces you to learn to know people, to know where their strengths are, where their weaknesses are, to accept them, and then to say the appropriate thing. I took that from my mom. She did it throughout her life. There was always something she had to say about something that was just right on and appropriate and made you feel that she understood you. And many people do tell me that I tend to be very understanding, and they don't understand how. That is how. From my dad, I suppose it's being result-oriented.
That is a rare gift. A rare gift. Wow. Go on there, you're going to say.
My dad is more about being result-oriented, outcome-oriented. Processes are fine, but I want to see the outcome. I want to see the results, why I am putting in this effort. And I'm very, very focused on results and outcomes. And that is from my dad.
Where you get it from? And then, so you're there, square peg in that square hole, doing the job that you're doing, because that doesn't leave room for just guesswork. Get up and say, maybe we should just try this thing. You just put something out there, and a whole bunch of people lose their lives in the process because of that irresponsibility. So you got the training that you deserved to have, that prepared you for the respective jobs that you do now, the respective roles that you play now. And then the one last question now for the thing is, so how does the boy fit in this whole thing? Did he always feel, how did he fit in this whole scheme right here? So if you had been in Florida now, would you have dragged him shopping with you? What would you have done? I'm just interested in knowing.
Yeah, he would follow us. He would have been part of us. He just liked being with us. In fact, when we were growing up, he was doing things that we did. When we are learning how to sew, or what was that thing?
He would bake.
And knitting. Yes.
Bake cakes, everything that we were doing.
When we wrapped a kwang, he wrapped with us.
Yeah.
that is a really wonderful thing. And it's a testament, like I said before, to your parents. God rest their souls. They did something right. And I'm I kind of know, but I'm trying not to show that I know that this is passed on to the next generation, because it's a pity if parents do something, their immediate progeny do the same thing, and then the next generation, they're like, we are not interested in all of this thing you all are doing. which would be a very painful thing to watch. I know that is so not the case, because I have seen them actually at gatherings that people have had, get together as cousins and really get along and really talk and have their whole, it's an amazing thing to see. So your parents did well, you carried the baton and you have done just as well. So I would say congratulations for a wonderful job. You really make us proud. So as Secrets, you are actually a testament to what the education did. We're talking about the girl child. Good thing your parents understood it early on and made sure you got a solid education. And not only solid education, academically, a moral one too. So that you do, there's some things that you do, say, that cannot be partial, child. That's nah. If somebody came and told me they had so and so, I'm like, you didn't hear right. Not that person, not that person, not this one. And that's where it comes from, that solid background. So I'm going to ask everybody to go ahead and have a last word, and I'm going to follow the same protocol. In closing, anything that you'd like to add, because it has been an amazing, wonderful conversation. So Sister Dora, you start. What's your closing word?
Well, I just want to say a big thank you, Egwe, for having us on. An opportunity just to share something about our lives as sisters. And we saw you growing up too, or at least I did. And I have come to appreciate all what you are doing. You are doing a great job, bringing people on, having them expose themselves sometimes. Sometimes some are so shy, and this gives opportunity. I tell you, I'm one of those shy ones, and this gives the opportunity to be able to say something to the public. And I think I've really appreciated it. It warms the heart. I thank God for my sisters. I thank God for you and your sisters, whom I happen to know very well and whom I appreciate. And thank you for this opportunity. I hope that it has impacted someone's life just sharing this story, because sometimes it's not just telling stories, it is to tell everybody that if we did it to this level, somebody can do it even better. You know, you asked how we cope with a typical day. I mean, one didn't get into all sorts of details, but as married housewives, we have to cope with the home. We have to cope with bringing up the children. We have to cope with academic and professional aspects. And so it is very demanding. But the fact that we cope with it and get on to excel living means that anybody who is determined can also do it. So thank you so much, Edwin. God bless everyone.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Sister Flo, what's your concluding word?
I echo the same sentiments, even though I'm not going to repeat it all, but I echo the same sentiments. So please note that. Thank you. Thank you for having us. You know, we are blessed, and to have them be ones in our family from childhood days, you know, so that's wonderful. My closing remarks is that I want the younger people, you know, to keep in mind that the sky is their limit. They can accomplish anything, but it entails a lot of hard work, a lot of discipline. You have to be very disciplined, hardworking, you know, get yourself some goals and write them down. For every evening before I go to bed, you say, I have these index cards. I have to write the things for the next day. Every evening, you have to get organized and be able to, and of course, you do everything in the heart of prayers. You do a lot of prayers, I do a lot of prayers, and then God will propel you to that destiny that you to have. But a lot of hard work, a lot of discipline, and you would make it. So the sky is the limit, especially to the younger generation, the younger people. Do not let anyone stop you or tell you can't do it. You must take a try first before, you know, and you don't give up. You try again and again and again. So thank you for having us.
Well, my pleasure, my pleasure. And Stella.
Yeah, no, I will not repeat the same things that my sisters have said, but coming on this show made me really think about the family as a central unit in everyone's lives. It is sometimes many families do face challenges. Some have grown apart, some are not so close, other things, the life has happened, and we lose the priorities at some point. But I would put forward and submit that if everyone should think about their families and bringing back that spirit of family love, of unity, of brother and sisterhood. And this doesn't mean only your immediate family. It might be your brother families, but it's also your friends.
Right.
So I will seek and submit that this show should move people who have not been in touch with their families, or who have not prioritized building a deeper relationship with their families, to take the opportunity to do so. As we grow older, the family becomes more and more important. Thank you, Egwe, for having us and for giving us an opportunity to talk on your show.
It has been a pleasure. And I'm sitting here nodding. I'm just surprised the hair hasn't come off my head and fallen down. Each thing everybody is saying, I'm nodding and nodding. You don't know the thing you just said there about the family. That is the basis and the foundation. Everything, that closely knit thing with the world, with all its issues that it has, it is a wonderful feeling to know that you can come, you have something you can fall back on. It is the root of everything. So as you're saying, this whole love thing, it takes work. You don't just sit down there and say, I'll be loved, I love people. You have to show it. So it means you're going to stay up late at night and listen to this sister who has called you and she's saying, there's this person at work that's just bothering me. I don't know what's up with them. That whole thing, it takes work, sacrifice. So you'd rather be sleeping. If you had you'd rather be sleeping, but you have deprived of yourself of that sleep for that day to listen to. Sometimes it's the gift, sometimes it's the actual visits. Look at you all where you live. Here you are in Florida, came to find your sister. Together went to this convention. Together go and look before you go back to your various homes, and then our children are watching. They see. That's why they're doing what they're doing too, because they see. So that's why they bond. So you have done a fantastic. I cannot just applaud you yourselves enough. Thank God for your parents, and just pray that the generations coming after do what their great, eventually it will be their great grandparents set the pace. Continue to do that. So thank you. I'm the one that should thank you, tired as you are from all of this activity, for making the time to come sit here and talk and inspire people academically, morally, and just about how success, what it looks like, because nobody gets this successful without God, like all three of you have said, and without hard work and then organization, sitting there and planning your lives out. It doesn't just happen, oh, azar. Very rarely do you just sit and be successful in spite of yourself. Like, wow, look at how successful I am. I didn't do anything. Nobody helped me, didn't go to school, it doesn't really happen that way. So thank you for being an example. I'd say keep it up, even though that's unnecessary, because you will. I'd say keep it up and continue to inspire. All right then, so thanks for being on the show. Thank you everybody for listening and for watching. We'll see you next time. God bless.
God bless. Thank you.